Good morning, everyone. I'm reading a book by Arthur Brooks called Strength to Strength. And in it, he tells the following story. He said he was once on a fishing trip with his 9-year-old son. And as they're fishing, he gets a call. And he says to his son, I need to take this call. It was someone from another foundation that he was trying to do some kind of a partnership with, and he felt he had to take the call. He went off to take the call. When he came back, his son said to him, Dad, who was that? He said it was a friend of mine, which was the truth because he was friendly with this person. And they had gone out to eat once. He said it was a friend of mine. And his 9-year-old son looks at him and says, Dad, was it a real friend or a deal friend? And he said his son made him realize that indeed there are two types of friends. There are friends that are deal friends. You know, there's a utilitarian mutual benefit to the relationship. And then there are real friends, genuine friends. This week's Torah portion, Kedoshim, has the most important commandment in the Torah. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. The Torah is telling us that every person is like you, has the same goals, dreams, aspirations, likes and dislikes as you do. And therefore, treat every person as a reflection of God and a reflection of yourself. And therefore, realize you have something in common with every person to have a real, true, meaningful relationship. Aristotle said there are three types of friendships. One is just a mutually beneficial relationship where two people have a relationship because they benefit from one another. A higher form of friendship, said Aristotle, is where you truly admire and respect something about that person, and you're drawn to that person because of your recognition of their good traits and abilities and respect for them. But he said the ultimate perfect friendship is when you have something in common with someone that transcends yourself, that you share a passion or a spiritual drive or a goal that you both want to achieve for the benefit of others, not even for your own self-interest. And when you share that common vision, then you have the closest and most perfect friendship of all. They tell a story that there was a guy who came to a town. He goes over to someone in the street and he says, can you do me a favor? He said, what? He said, can you lend me $1,000? The fellow says, lend you $1,000? I don't even know who you are. How can I lend you $1,000? And he says to him, you know, that's funny because the town I come from, no one wants to lend me $1,000 because they do know who I am. So if the people who know who I am don't want to lend me the $1,000, and the people who don't know who I am don't want to lend me $1,000, who's going to lend me the money? And therefore the Torah says, love your neighbor as yourself. Sometimes we say, well, I don't know this person, how can I love them? And sometimes we say, I do know this person, how could I love them? The Torah says to us, nonetheless, we have to love each and every person. And when we learn to love each other by finding the good in each other, or getting to know one another and learning to love one another, then we find that the greatest blessing in life comes through friendship. Because one of the greatest pandemics in the world today is not COVID, but rather loneliness. 43% of Americans report that they feel loneliness. And more, because we're living in a social media world, we assume that friendships are about likes. But when I was in Disney World the other week, I saw someone wearing a t-shirt that said, in a world filled with likes, we need to learn how to find love. Love your neighbor as yourself, says the Torah. And you will find that the greatest blessings of life, not just spiritual blessings, but physical health and happiness will be increased when we learn to love those we know and those we don't know. Have a wonderful day.